I'd like to go on to our next SCI Idealist presentation now. To make the introduction, I'd like to call upon Dr. Makiba McCreary, the Patty and Jonathan Kraft Chief of Learning and Community Engagement at the Museum of Fine Arts.
Thank you. I do have the honor of introducing Paul Francisco. So Paul, as you could probably find in his bio, is the Chief Diversity Officer and Head of Workforce Development Programs at State Street Corporation. There he's leading the implementation of State Street's global diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies. He also oversees the execution of workforce development strategies and affirmative action planning. I could talk about Paul coming to the US from Honduras as a teenager, teaching himself English, navigating a world of higher education, and then playing for the Dolphins and the Patriots. I could also talk about his very strong suit game and his quiet passion for an unnamed sneaker collection. But certainly Paul's greatest accomplishment is being the father of Giselle and Sophia and the husband of Betty Francisco. Paul also gets props for being the surrogate uncle to my son, Gary. This year, as our worlds shut down and as we all survived a pandemic, two things happened in this city that represent courage and leadership. Courage and leadership that was delivered with a calm call to action. With the colleagues I know he would include, Paul helped to galvanize the new Commonwealth Racial Equity and Social Justice Fund, a fund that's pushing for the collective power of Black and Brown communities to eliminate systemic racism and racial inequity across the Commonwealth. This summer, Paul and the Men's Dinner Group led a powerful protest to ensure that those of us who were mothers to Black sons were well reminded that those beautiful and precious lives did indeed matter. And so you can imagine that I found myself at a loss when trying to think about how I might introduce this man who is so very special, both to me and to the city of Boston. I went to a few others who I think are masters of language in a way that I am not. They remind me with these quotes of the qualities that are so truly core to Paul. The only thing is, people have to develop courage. It's the most important of all virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtues consistently. Maya Angelou. The only tyrant I accept in this world is the still small voice within me. And even though I have to face the prospect of being a minority of one, I humbly believe I have the courage to be in such a hopeless minority. Mahatma Gandhi. Earn your leadership every day. Michael Jordan. Talk about his best qualities, that he helps bring people together, like he's funny and how nice he is and how calm he is, and how those are good traits to help people bring together people and to get them to get along. Gary Xavier McCreary. And Paul reminds me how grateful I am that we do indeed get to choose our family. Congratulations, Paul, to an honor well-deserved. You are changing the fabric of this community with such grace and power, and you make it possible for all of us to envision a beautiful future.
Thank you. I knew you were going to do this, Makiba. You know, all of us in this call are here because we believe that what we do is bigger than us. And that, to me, has been what's motivated me to continue to do this work, and the work that SCI does, the work that each of you do in your own right. It's amazing. So thank you to SCI for this recognition. David, for having started this organization, having the courage to do that, for the board and your guidance and leadership, and navigating this troubled waters for this organization and for society at large, for the staff, for hanging in there, being there and doing what you do every day, and the volunteers who are the lifeline of this type of work. I was looking up the definition of an idealist, before this event. And I didn't really like the definition. Webster sort of defined it as impractical dreamers, people who think of utopia, but don't necessarily have, practical approaches to solutions. And I said, that's not true. That's not true. You can dream big, you can be an idealist, but you also can act. You also can coalesce, can drive change, can activate. And that is what SCI does. That is what each of us in this call do. That is the power that we have. And, the reason why I do what I do is not because, it's nice to get together with my extended family, as many of you are, and, be recognized for it, but because the need is such, and the opportunity is such. I would not be where I am today had it not been for a village, a community that came together, that rallied around me, that put their arms around me, that showed me that it was worth it, that showed me that I could achieve. And I remember coming as a 17-year-old immigrant to this country, and organizations like Orchard Park CDC, back in the day, Lena Park CDC, organizations like La Alianza Hispana, were critical to my development. Today, organizations like the Partnership, and I see my friends from the Partnership here, the ROCA, organizations I'm a part of, from a board perspective or from a development perspective, continue to ensure that my social capital is being able to be deployed, utilized in the right way. I've always believed in collaboration. I've always believed in connection. I've always believed in what good is it for me to have social capital if I'm not sharing that, if I'm not connecting people, and if I'm not helping people. So I just want to thank you all again for being here. Apologies for getting emotional at the beginning, but it's hard to not to when you have family introduce you in the way they do it, especially hearing the words from my favorite nephew, Gary. So thank you.